Hello, sixth graders. In today's lesson, we're working again with fractions and decimals, but this time we are going to write decimals as fractions. Here are the steps that we're going to use for converting decimals to fractions. First, if it's a mixed number, the whole number stands alone. That goes in front of the decimal. The numerator, that's the entire number after the decimal. So whatever the number after the decimal is, that becomes our numerator. And the denominator is whichever place value the decimal ends in. So if it ends in the hundredth place, your denominator is 100. And then we are going to simplify. So our first one here, okay, we don't have a number in front of the decimal. So we just have the 26, which becomes our numerator. And our denominator, then it ends in the tenth hundredths place. So our bottom number would be 100. Now we're going to simplify, find what they both can be divided by, which I know is 2 because they're both even. 26 divided by 2 and 100 divided by 2. That's then in simplest form. Next one, if I read that number 1/10, 1 is our numerator. Since it ends in the tenths place, that's our denominator. And that's already in simplest form. Next one, if I read it 4 and 7/100ths, we write it exactly how we read it. So the 4 is our whole number, 7 is our numerator, and it ends in the hundredths place. So that's going to be our denominator. Now, those numbers 7 and 100 cannot be simplified, so we would leave our answer like that. 2 and 125 thousandths. 2 is my whole number, the number in front of the decimal. The number after the decimal is my numerator. It ends in the tenths, hundredths, thousandths place. So 1,000 will be my denominator. Now I need to simplify. And I know that they both can be divided by 25. So I'm going to start with that. You also maybe could have started with 5. The whole number, I'm going to work up here. The whole number stays in front. And 125 divided by 5 is 5. And then 1,000 divided by 25 would be 40. And it looks like that can be simplified again by 5. So again, whole number stays. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 40 divided by 5 is 8. So my final answer, now that's in simplest form, 2 and 1/8. Okay, so how would we say this number without using the word point? So instead of saying 0.15, using our math terminology here, we would read it as 15 and then the place value that it ends in, hundredths. So we then write that as how we would say it. 15 hundredths would be 15 over 100. And then we simplify. Those can be divided by 5, which would be 3 over 20, and I think that's done in simplest form. If I say the next one, instead of saying 0.8, I say 8/10ths, the place value that it ends in. 8 is my numerator, tenths is my denominator. Again, simplify. Those can both be divided by 2. 8 divided by 2, 100 divided by 2. And then we did this one on the last one, but 125 goes as my numerator. And then 125, it ends in the thousandths place, so that would be my denominator. And then again, I think that those both divided by, I started with 25, but then I had to divide again. So if I just start with dividing by 125 on the top and bottom, I'll save myself some time here. So 125 divided by 125, and 1,000 divided by 125 would be 1/8 in simplest form. Now here's some for you to try, and then come back and watch to see if you did them correctly. Write them as a fraction in simplest form. So if we were to read it, 75 goes as our numerator. Hundredths, since that's a place value it ends in, that goes on our denominator. Simplify, I know that I can divide by 25 on the top and bottom. Again, you could have started with 5, but that would have just made you have to divide multiple times. So 75 divided by 25 is 3, and 100 divided by 25 is 4. That's also one that you might know off the top of your head, that 75 hundredths simplifies to 3/4. Next one, the 6 is my numerator. It ends in the tenths place, so 10 is the denominator, and that can be simplified by dividing it by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 3/5. And then the last one, 201 would be my numerator. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths would be my denominator. So now if I think about this, I don't think that there's anything that they both can be divided by. So then that's already in simplest form. That's all for converting decimals to fractions. Make sure to have your notes in class. Don't forget, if you're stuck or confused, you can always go back and re-watch any part of this video.